Well, Paul, let's just start, get the Breakers stuff out of the way. What's your assessment of the season?
Disappointing. We had high expectations going in, as we always do, and the club did as well. But for whatever reason, we weren't able to get any sort of traction and consistency throughout the season. We'd have a couple of disappointing losses. We'd turn it around and play well in one or two games and get a couple of wins, and then we'd sort of 2 steps forward, 3 steps back almost. And so it was a disappointing year, but a year that for me personally I learnt a lot as a coach. It was great being back involved with a great organisation. Even the fact that our results were disappointing. We had great crowds. The club was great. The team unity was good considering all the tough times we were going through. So for me personally, it was disappointing, but it was fun at the same time. As history says, it's very tough once you're at the top, and there's almost a direct correlation with the Sharks and how we've done last year, and not sort of resting on our laurels and making sure we're on top of our game. We stay on edge, and we keep striving for success and greater success at that, because winning one is tough, it's hard, but winning it again is even harder.
I suppose that's the upside of the early finish of the Breakers season. You can put more time into this team pre-season.
Bit of a win-win situation for me. The competitive side of me and the loyalty to the Breakers organisation. My heart was always there, but as soon as we were done, as soon as we were out, my mind really started to shift down to Invercargill and where our team was and where we wanted to be and where I wanted to be. So it's a tough one. It's a bit of a spin-off. I would have loved to still be playing with the Breakers, but now that I'm here, I'm fully immersed myself in the team and the club, and make sure I do whatever I can to help this team and this club be successful.
You've had some pre-season hit-outs. Was that with the full squad, or were you limited as to who you've got available at the moment?
We were limited. We didn't have Brian Conklin, didn't have Ruben Tarangi, but we had everyone else. It was just the pre-season blitz tournament that most of the NBL sides went to, and we had 2 wins, 2 losses. But for me, and I said this, after last pre-season, I don't think we got to win last pre-season. It was more about coming together as a team. The team had been training and doing Kevin Braswell's been doing a great job with the guys over the summer. And making sure the guys that are here are getting in shape and learning some of the systems. So it was good just to have a hit out for the guys to get on the road and sort of strengthen those bonds and that team connection that you want to sort of build on in the pre-season. And now we're a couple of days away from playing our first game. It's going to be a good tough season. The pre-season is a tough one in terms of results, because every team is at different levels in terms of their preparation time, player availability and things like that. So you get a better picture sort of 2 or 3 weeks into the season. Just the way the league goes, it's almost sometimes the first week or two is like a pre-season for most teams, and we're kind of going to be in that mould as well. Pierre Cameron has left Wellington to go to Waikato with the Rams, and new organisation. So it's great to have 4 South Island teams. As an honorary South Islander now, I'm just really proud of the fact that there's 4 quality organisations in the South Island. Taranaki have a new coach, and Darren Shaw, a guy that played many years in the NBL and also for New Zealand. So he's got his first hit out as coach in Taranaki, and I think there are only major changes.
Okay, let's have a look at the Nuggets. The first up, and nice to have as local derby as you can get.
It's great, as an honorary Southlander, I appreciate these times when we get to go up against Otago. You feel the passion in both provinces in whatever sporting code it is. So I'm really proud to be a part of it. My mind goes back to last season when we sold out the Velodrome against Otago, and we had a really great performance, but also conscious and wary of the fact that was last year. This year we're a slightly different group. Otago have changed a lot, but what doesn't change is that passion, that commitment to try and win. They're led by Mark Dickel, who's a player coach, and that's the other change that I didn't mention before. He's taken on a new role as a player and a coach, and I wish him all the best. Apart from the 2 games that we play him this year.
I suppose the other unknown factor in some degrees is the quality of imports, because that always does affect this competition, doesn't it? So you never quite know the new guys coming in how good they're going to be.
Yeah, one of the benefits we have is one of the imports for the Otago Nuggets, and I forget his name. I haven't done my homework yet, and that's what I've got to do for the next few days. Kevin Braswell played with and against them in Turkey, and that's where Mark Dickel sort of got him from when they were over there together. So we got a little bit of information about him, or insight on him, that we can pick Kevin's brain, and then other than that, it's just sort of you got to learn on the fly. Our scouting this week will be limited. We don't have any video footage of them and their pre-season work. They're a totally different team to last year in terms of their individuals, so it's going to be learn on the fly, which sort of changes our focus this week. We sort of focus on ourselves, make sure we're great at what we do and what we know, and then make those sort of coaching adjustments on the fly during the game.
And because of that turnover, you can't go into any game thinking, well, we beat this team last year, they'll be the same. They could be a completely different force.
Yeah, and they will be. Otago probably more so than any other team, well, probably bar Waikato, have such a big turnaround in terms of their player depth, and just the major pieces that have moved from Otago. Had BJ Anthony there, Akeem Wright, and Anton Tisby. Three guys that were just. They were stat stuffers. They're really a potent force in terms of putting points on the board, in terms of rebounding, and with all of those three gone, it changes things for them. Doesn't sort of take away from the fact that the guys coming in might be able to do the same thing, but they're just a different look. So that sort of unknown about that team is it just sort of keeps me on edge a little bit.
And you've got to build a new fortress this year, because the Velodrome was good to you. You'd be reluctant to leave it, actually, with the form you enjoyed last year, but a new stage this time.
The Velodrome was great for us. I don't think there's any region or team in the country that could say their secondary venue was as good as what the Velodrome was for us. And I enjoyed playing in there. The atmosphere in there was great. The acoustics were great. So when you got a couple of thousand people in there and screaming, the atmosphere was awesome. So, but after looking, next door last night in our first training, I just sort of said to the guys, I said, don't take this for granted. We're lucky. We're lucky to have something like this. We've got the best venue in the country by a long way, and don't take that thing for granted. So, hopefully we can make that as much as a fortress, if not more so, than what the Velodrome was for us.
Pre-sales have been good. It looks like the crowds are coming back. Of course, that increases the expectation.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the crowds come in droves, and we can pack that place out. It'll just be a fun night for everyone involved. The team, the club, but the community as well. And the expectation is always going to be there. But another thing I've said once, and I'll say it again. Nobody's expectations are higher than our own, and I think that sort of takes the pressure off some of those external expectations. Is that we put it on ourselves to perform and do well, and hopefully we can do that by starting with Friday.
Got a starting lineup in your head?
Not yet. Brian Conklin's he's coming off an injury he picked up with the Townsville Crocs. He tore his hamstring about 4 weeks ago now. So he had a good run around last night, and he's looking pretty sharp. So, but he's going to be a game time decision type guy, just to see how that thing pulls up. I heard from him this morning, and it pulled up fine from training. So hopefully throughout the week we can just increase that workload. But we're going to have a full roster and lineup to choose from. I'm not one to really stray too much from what works. Last year we went with Luke Martin, Kevin Braswell, Ruben Tarangi, Brian and Gareth Dawson. If everyone's healthy, I think that'll be a similar lineup for us.